Miss Hayden, could you do me a favor?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you. Sorry about that. I see you have 2 video exhibits for this one. Does that sound right?
Yes, I do.
It's a little bit of a longer process to make sure they share on Zoom. So can you go through a test with me to make sure that they work and you can hear them?
Yes, let's do it.
Give me just a second. Share. Over here, click that. I don't know what you're doing. Click share screen, and I clicked the application window, and I'm clicking to share sound. Okay. I'm gonna have to. Is there sound on this one?
No, I don't think there's sound. So it'll just play when it runs. It'll just play. We don't need sound, even if it did work.
And do you need sound for the other one?
No, just visuals.
Perfect. Then we're all set. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good morning. Ms. Weisenthal, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Aviv Segev. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear this proceeding number 24G-0320TO. Today is December 19th, 2024, now 9:30 a.m. This matter comes on for a hearing pursuant to decision number R24-0786-I. I am now calling the hearing to order. Before we start with entries of appearance, I want to remind staff that it is the Commission's practice to webcast legal proceedings and that both the audio and video feeds of this proceeding are being webcast. We're also recording this hearing, and we have a court reporter who is transcribing everything that is being said during the hearing. Ms. Hayden, Ms. Chong, welcome. Could you please enter your appearance?
Thank you, Your Honor. Jennifer Hayden, Assistant Attorney General for PUC staff. With me is co-counsel Assistant Attorney General Aileen Chong. And with us today are PUC staff Joe Potts and Lloyd Swint.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hayden, would the staff have any preliminary matters they would like to address?
Not for this hearing, Your Honor.
Very good. You ready to present your evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may call your first witness.
Your Honor, staff calls investigator Joseph Potts to the stand.
Hello, Mr. Potts. Good morning.
Good morning.
Raise your right hand? Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may put your hand down, and Ms. Hayden, the witness is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Investigator Potts. Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Sure. It is Joseph Potts, Josephpotts.
Who is your current employer?
The Colorado Public Utilities Commission.
And what is your position with the PUC?
I am a criminal investigator.
And can you briefly describe your duties as a criminal investigator with the PUC?
I investigate complaints that are filed against some of the companies and industries that we regulate.
How long have you been with the PUC?
3 years now.
And do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
Yes, I was a sheriff's deputy for 15 years with the city and county of Denver prior to joining the state.
Did you investigate a towing company owned and operated by Melvin Tolliver doing business as Colorado Roadside Recovery?
Yes, I did.
As a result of your investigation, did you issue and personally serve a CPAN against the respondent in this case?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what were the violations alleged in the CPAN?
Operating without a permit and failing to file insurance with the commission.
Investigator Potts, I'd like to go through your investigation that led to the issuance of that CPAN. What prompted you to investigate Melvin Tolliver doing business as Colorado Roadside Recovery?
A complaint had been filed against that company.
And who made the complaint?
The gentleman by the name of Alexander Kubik.
Based on your investigation, what was the reason for the complaint?
Mr. Kubik had told us that his vehicle was towed he told us that on March 22nd of this year, at about 8 p.m. that evening, he noticed that his vehicle was no longer parked in front of his condo. He called the Aurora Police Department to report the vehicle was stolen. However, he was informed that it had in fact been towed by a company called Colorado Roadside Recovery and given a phone number. This bothered him as he told me he had parked his vehicle in his designated parking space, had his permit displayed from his mirror, and was unsure of the reason why it was towed. So he asked the dispatcher if a reason was given, and he was informed that they were informed by the tow company that his vehicle was abandoned. This upset him to the point that he reached out to the Public Utility Commission and filed a complaint in regards to this incident.
Upon receiving that complaint, what did you do first?
First thing I did is I looked up the name of the tow company in our state databases, such as IFMs and UPMs.
And then where did you go from there? What did you learn?
Well, the initial complaint named a company called Rapid Response Towing and Recovery. I found a registry for that company in our system. However, they were not located in the Denver area, and the phone numbers that were registered for that company did not match the phone number for the tow company on the complainants receipt. So I knew it wasn't the same company. It didn't have much information to go off of, so I performed basically a general internet search of the phone number printed on the tow invoice receipt, and I was able to locate records through SAFER, which is a division of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and the U.S. Department of Transportation, provided a summary of that business's information as it was filed with the U.S. DOT.
Thank you. Can we please take a look at what has previously been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 104? Investigator Potts, I'd like to draw your attention to this SAFER exhibit. Investigator Potts, what is this document?
This is the webpage from SAFER with the tow company's information.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with this document?
I'm the person that pulled this from the system.
Is it your standard practice as an investigator to review information that's on file with the U.S. Department of Transportation as part of the regular course of business?
Yes, it is.
And is it the practice of the PUC to maintain documents like this as part of your investigation in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit staff's hearing exhibit 104.
Hearing exhibit 104 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, what information is provided in this exhibit?
This provides a summary of the company's information, such as their name, an address, and phone number.
And were you able to verify whether this phone number, address, and information was related to Melvin Tolliver?
Yes, I was.
And did you find out who the company was?
Yes, I did.
Okay. With that information, we can go ahead and take this exhibit down, please. With that information, what was your next step, Investigator Potts?
Can we put this on again? I'd like to scroll to the bottom of it so we can see the whole exhibit. And could you also point out where the address is and phone number on this document?
It would be on page 1.
Page 1?
Yes, sir. You'll have to zoom in a little bit.
Sorry, it's really small on my screen. Okay, so it's the York address. Okay, now I see it. And phone number right under it. Okay.
That's correct.
Casey, would you kindly scroll all the way to the end? I think there may be 3 pages, so I don't know if we've reached the 3rd page, but thank you. Thank you. I think if Ms. Hayden is ready, you should may put on the next example.
Thank you. Your Honor, for the record, that noise that we're hearing is the government computer that Investigator Potts has been issued. And we don't have a lot of control over that.
Does it make a vacuuming sound?
It does. We hear the vacuuming sound. I think that's okay. That will click off when it runs its course.
I think he should get a new one.
For the record, we agree.
If Santa brings me new earbuds, this won't be a problem.
So, Investigator Potts, to recap, you had a phone number, you ran with it through the SAFER system. You discovered the phone number, address, and company name. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then with that information, what was your next step?
I then looked up the name of that tow company in our state databases, IFMs and OPRIGHTs, and I was able to locate this particular tow company, now called Rapid Response Towing and Transport, doing business as Final Notice Towing and Recovery. According to our records, the company did not have an active towing permit at the time that this incident took place.
Okay, and with that information, where does your investigation lead you?
I was able to research the business license for that company with the Secretary of State's office.
As part of your investigation, did you review the Secretary of State website?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 103? Investigator Potts, what is this document?
This is the business license for the company as registered with the Secretary of State.
And are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with this document?
I'm the one that pulled this from the system.
Is it your standard practice as an investigator to review the information filed with the Secretary of State?
Yes, it is.
And do you maintain documents, or does the PUC maintain documents like this in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 103.
Hearing exhibit 103 is admitted.
Investigator Potts, this is a 2-page exhibit. What information is provided in this exhibit?
The company name, address, and designated agent information.
On what page do we find the trade name of the company?
Page 1, at the very top of the box.
And on what page do we see the registrant's name?
That would be on page 2.
If we could
Or, I'm
please,
sorry.
if we could stay on page 1, scroll up a little bit. What are the names of the companies we're dealing with here, Investigator Potts?
The registered name for the company is, we'll have to zoom it, Rapid Response Towing and Transport, Inc.
Okay.
And the trade name is Final Notice Towing and Recovery.
And if we could scroll down to page 2, please. Investigator Potts, who is the registered agent?
Melvin Tolliver.
And what is the principal address for this business?
4956 York Street, Denver, Colorado, 80216.
And were you able to match this information to Melvin Tolliver, now operating as Colorado Roadside Recovery?
Yes, ma'am.
If we could please, if we could please scroll to the bottom of this exhibit, page 2. Thank you. We could take down this exhibit, please. So with this information, were you able to find or explain how we got to Colorado Roadside Recovery?
Well, the complainant had told me that when he called the Aurora Police Department, the dispatcher informed him that the vehicle was actually towed off by Colorado Roadside Recovery. He was then given a phone number for that company, and when he called the number to speak to the tow company, he spoke with Melvin, and Melvin told him the name of the tow company, again, was Colorado Roadside Recovery.
Investigator Potts, is that why the CPAN is designates Melvin Tolliver doing business as Colorado Roadside Recovery?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was your next step?
I requested and reviewed documentation from Mr. Kubik. He had informed me that he had some videos of this incident and he had his tow invoices.
So during the course of your investigation, you spoke directly with the complainant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And tell us more about what you learned from him.
Well, he told me that on March 22nd at about 8 p.m. that evening, he noticed that his vehicle was missing. He called the police department to report it as stolen, and that's when he was informed that it had in fact been towed. This bothered him because he knew that at the time he was not parked in somewhere he shouldn't have been. that he did have his parking permit displayed. So when he asked the dispatcher if a reason was given that the vehicle was taken off the property, the response he received was that, the tower informed the police department that the car was abandoned at that point.
Did you obtain any evidence of this tow?
Yes.
Can we please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 101?
Let me know when you're ready for me to play it.
Thank you, Ms. Federico. Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the video that Mr. Kubik had sent me.
And are you familiar with this video?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this video?
This is the video from his home security system that I had reviewed and saved to the file.
And what is the date indicated on this evidence you've obtained?
March 22nd, 2024.
Is that the same date of the tow?
Yes, it is.
And is this a fair and accurate depiction of the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 101.
Hearing exhibit 101 is admitted.
All right, Ms. Federico, I'd like to request that we play this video. And Investigator Potts, while this video is playing, can you walk us through what we're seeing?
Off to the right corner, you'll see a white unmarked tow truck. This is the vehicle that was used to remove Mr. Kubik's Subaru.
What do we see now, Investigator Potts?
This is the tow truck leaving with Mr. Kubik's vehicle.
Thank you, Ms. Federico. We can take down this exhibit. Investigator Potts, as part of your investigation, you had said that the reason for the tow was that it was abandoned. Did you find that to be the case?
No, I did not. Mr. Kubik told me that's his daily driver and that's what he uses every day to get back and forth from work. He said there's no reason why that should have been considered an abandonment.
Was Mr. Kubik able to retrieve his vehicle?
Yes, he was.
Did he have to pay to get his car back?
He did. He said that he had to spend $47 by hiring a Lyft driver to take him out to the tow yard, and then he had to pay $512 in tow fees to get the car back.
Ms. Federico, if we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 107.
Public version, right?
Yes, please. Investigator Potts, you had just testified that Mr. Kubik had to pay to get his car back. If we could scroll through this exhibit. Investigator Potts, are you familiar with this 4-page exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you familiar with this?
These are the receipts he received from the tow company after he paid to get his vehicle out of the impound.
Thank you. If we could please return to page 2. Investigator Potts, is it the practice of the PUC to maintain documents like this in the regular course of business activities?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 107.
Hearing exhibit 107 is admitted.
Your Honor, staff also would move to admit the unredacted confidential version 107C into the record as well.
Both versions are admitted.
Investigator Potts, what amount did the complainant have to pay to get his car back in this instance?
$512.
And was that the only expense that he had to pay in regards to this tow?
No, ma'am. In addition to this, he had to spend $47 by hiring Lyft to drive him out to the terminal.
Okay. And were you able to obtain any documentary evidence of that bill?
No, this is just what he had told me he had to do.
Okay. Despite that, are you asking the court to consider a $47 Lyft fee and calculating any refund that may be awarded?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
So he was Mr. Kubik was we could go ahead and take down this exhibit, please. So Mr. Kubik was able to retrieve his vehicle, is that right?
That is correct.
When you spoke with Mr. Kubik, he indicated that there were 2 tows. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
When did the second tow occur?
The second tow occurred on May 2nd of 2024.
Can we pull up what's previously been marked as Staff's Hearing Exhibit 102?
Again, let me know when you want me to play it.
Thank you. Investigator Potts, what is this?
This is the video from the second incident in which his vehicle was towed.
And are you familiar with this evidence?
Yes, I am.
Is this date stamped as well?
Yes, it is. May 2nd, 2024.
Okay, thank you. And where do we see that date?
The upper portion of the screen.
Okay, great. And is that the date of the second tow that you had mentioned, May 2nd?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the scene at that time?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit Hearing Exhibit 102.
Hearing Exhibit 102 is admitted.
Ms. Federico, if you would please begin playing this video. Investigator Potts, while we are playing this video, can you walk us through what we're seeing?
Yeah, Mr. Kubik had told me that on May 2nd, again, he noticed that his vehicle was missing. However, rather than contacting the police department, he accessed his personal security cameras and was able to identify the tow truck once again from the first incident as the company that took his car back in March.
And is that the same truck from the last video?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recognize the tow truck driver?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
His name is Melvin Tolliver.
How do you recognize him, Investigator Potts?
I assisted another investigator in 2023, served Mr. Tolliver a CPAN for operating his other tow company without a permit and insurance.
And is this the same person that we see in this video that you contacted in that last case?
Yes, it is.
And in fact, you personally served a CPAN in this case to him, is that right?
That is correct.
And what are we watching here, Investigator Potts?
This is Mr. Tolliver hooking up Mr. Kubik's vehicle to his tow truck.
And what type of vehicle are we looking at?
This is a Subaru.
And is that Mr. Kubik's Subaru?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the same Subaru that was previously towed in the last video?
Yes, ma'am.
Investigator Potts, is this the same location that the prior tow occurred as well?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Thank you. We can go ahead and take down Exhibit 102. Investigator Potts, did the complainant have to pay Melvin Tolliver to get this his car back on this second tow?
Yes, he did.
Do you know how much that cost him?
It cost him $60.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing Exhibit 108. If we could scroll through. This is the redacted version, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Investigator Potts, what are we looking at here?
This is the invoice, or the receipt, I should say, that the complaint received after the second tow had occurred.
Okay. And did you obtain this during your investigation in the business activities for the PUC?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this kept in the regular course of PUC business?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing Exhibit 108.
Hearing Exhibit 108 is admitted.
Your Honor, there's also a confidential version that staff would be.
Thank you. Both versions of Hearing Exhibit 108 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Potts, again, how much did the complainant have to pay this time?
$60.
That's a bit less than the first tow, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Why is there such a difference in the price between the first tow and the second tow?
Mr. Kubik told me that after his vehicle was towed a second time, he had researched the laws that had recently been passed as part of House Bill 2213-14 and learned that there was a provision in that law that allowed him to get the vehicle out of the impound at a reduced fee. He said he printed out the forms from the Public Utility Commission's website, filled them out, and took it with him when he went to go pick up the vehicle.
We could.
I didn't really get the last couple sentences because he's kind of quiet. I mean, he kind of moved back or something. He took the he printed out the form from the PUC, took it with him, and was able. I didn't get after that.
Yes, he took the form with him to the impound, and he was able to get his vehicle out of the impound for $60.
Thanks.
If we could scroll up just a little bit. Investigator Potts, I want to draw your, right there would be great. Investigator Potts, you've investigated many transportation cases, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And during those investigations, do you often receive receipts as part of your investigation?
Yes, I do.
And do those receipts generally list the business name of who you're doing business with on those receipts?
Yes, they are, and in towing, they are supposed to.
They're supposed to. What is the name of the company being used on this receipt?
It simply says towing company.
Was that an issue for the complainant?
Yes, it was.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, when he received these receipts, he too noticed that it just said towing company and felt that he had been ripped off. That's why he contacted the Public Utility Commission.
Thank you. If we could please take this exhibit down. So, okay, and once you've spoken with Mr. Kubik and obtained all of this evidence, Investigator Potts, what was your next step?
At that point, I put together a CPAN. Well, I should say that. I researched the history with Mr. Tolliver and the Public Utility Commission and confirmed that the previous CPAN had been issued to him and that it had been adjudicated by ALJ Hahn. She issued a decision in that case in which she too found that the company was operating without a permit and insurance. And then from there, I compiled my CPAN and attempted to get in touch with Melvin Tolliver so that I could serve it to him.
Okay, Investigator Potts, so let's walk through the CPAN that you issued in this case. And then I'd like to follow up with your investigation based on that prior case, okay?
Okay.
So when it comes to the CPAN, Investigator Potts, do the PUC rules require towing carriers to have an active permit before they tow a vehicle?
Yes, they do.
And do the PUC rules require towing carriers to maintain and file evidence of financial responsibility with the PUC?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Can we please take a look at what's been marked as Staff's Hearing Exhibit 100? Investigator Potts, I'd like to draw your attention to the CPAN you drafted and referenced. Investigator Potts, did you prepare this document?
Yes, I did.
And if we could scroll down to page 2, is that your signature on page 2?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And is this created in the regular course of business activities for the PUC?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff would move to admit Hearing Exhibit 100.
Hearing Exhibit 100 is admitted.
And if we could scroll down to the bottom of page 3. Thank you. Investigator Potts, I'd like to draw your attention to what's on page 1 of the CPAN. What charges did you, what violations did you decide to bring against the respondent?
Failing to maintain and file evidence of financial responsibility in sums as required by the Public Utilities Commission, and operating or offering to operate as a towing carrier in interstate commerce without having first obtained a permit.
And are those for each of the 2 tows in this case?
That's correct, for both the tow on the 22nd of March and again on May 2nd.
Okay. And so that explains why you use those 2 dates of violation?
Yes, ma'am.
And do those dates align with the video evidence that has been submitted into the record?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Did Colorado Roadside Recovery ever provide, Melvin Tolliver, the PUC with proof of insurance during the time of your investigation?
No, they did not.
Was there ever a filing of proof of insurance with the PUC during the pendency of this case?
No, there was not.
When was the last time you checked?
December 16th, 3 days ago.
Did Mr. Tolliver have an active permit issued by the PUC on the dates of offense in this case?
No, he did not.
Do you know whether Colorado Roadside Recovery has ever applied for a towing permit?
No, they have not.
Investigator Potts, in the CPAN that you drafted, did you double the civil penalty in this CPAN?
Yes, I did.
And you're authorized to do so by commission rules and statute, is that right?
That's correct.
On page 2 of this CPAN, does it indicate how this CPAN was served on the respondent?
Yes, it does.
On what date was it served?
July 29th, 2024.
And so you can confirm that Mr. Tolliver received a copy of the CPAN?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you discuss the CPAN with him at that time?
Yes, I did.
Did you also serve him with the decision issued in the prior case that you mentioned?
Yes, I did.
All right, we'll get into that in a minute. Based on your investigation and the evidence admitted in this hearing, has Mr. Tolliver continued his towing activities?
Yes, he has.
And when Mr. Tolliver towed the Subaru in these two instances, where did he take them?
He took them to his tow yard.
Has Mr. Tolliver engaged in storage activities
Yes, he has.
and impound activities?
That is correct.
Okay. And at no time did Mr. Tolliver have a permit to do so?
He did not have a permit.
And any indication that he was insured to do so?
No, ma'am.
If we could please take down this exhibit. Investigator Potts, you mentioned that you came across a prior decision in your investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you access internal databases that are regularly used by the PUC to do so?
Yes, I did.
And what did your investigation reveal as it relates to Mr. Tolliver's history with the PUC?
I found in a previous complaint from 2023 that Mr. Tolliver had been cited another penalty or issued another penalty for the operation of his towing company without a permit and for failing to file evidence of insurance with the commission. That particular case was adjudicated by ALJ Hahn, who issued a decision letter on the 7th, I believe, of February 2024, in which she too found that the company was operating without a permit and insurance.
Great, Investigator Potts, but let me back up just a little bit so I can break that down and make sure I got everything. So did you had involvement in that case, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And did that case go to hearing?
Yes, it did.
And was a decision issued?
Yes, it was.
Can we pull up what's previously been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 105? Your Honor, we're looking at staff's hearing exhibit 105, the prior decision, R24-0075. Is the court inclined to take judicial notice, or would you like me to get it into evidence?
Since you have it up and since it's marked, why won't you introduce it? Why won't you request that admit it into evidence? I don't know if you've laid sufficient foundation. I believe you have. So in that case, I'm assuming you would like me to admit hearing what's been marked with hearing exhibit 105 into evidence. Is that correct, Ms. Hayden?
Yes, we could do that.
Hearing exhibit 105 is admitted.
And Investigator Potts, you've read through this decision, is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And who was the respondent in that case?
Melvin Tolliver?
And did ALJ Hahn make any findings in that case?
Yes, she did.
And what were those findings?
She found in that case that the company was operating without a towing permit and that they failed to file evidence of insurance with the Public Utility Commission.
Was a civil penalty issued in that case?
Yes, it was.
If we could scroll down to maybe about page 24. Was a refund issued in that case, Investigator Potts?
I believe it was requested. I do not know if the respondent ever provided it.
Okay. If Investigator Potts, I'd like to draw your attention to number 3 on page 24 of ALJ Hahn's decision, where it says respondent shall refund. Do you see that?
Respondents. No, can we zoom in just a little bit? And can you...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. There we go.
Item number 4?
Yeah. Item number 3.
In accordance with Rule 6511G of the Rules Regulating Transportation by Motor Vehicle 4 code of Colorado Regulations 723-6, respondent shall refund $1,801 to U-Haul no later than 30 days following the date of the final commission decision issued in this proceeding.
And that was in addition to the civil penalty that was issued, is that correct?
That is correct.
And did, based on this decision, did ALJ Hahn issue a cease and desist to Mr. Tolliver?
That is correct.
And this is the same decision that you issued to Mr. Tolliver, is that right?
Correct. This is the same one that I served him with.
And was this the foundation for this? If we could please take this document down. And was this the foundation for the violations that you cited in the CPAN?
Yes, ma'am. This is the reason why the penalties were doubled.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I have one moment, please? To clarify, Investigator Potts, if we could pull up the CPAN, Exhibit 100, I believe. Thank you. Investigator Potts, in regards to these violations, you had issued a CPAN and doubled the fine, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it's based on this prior decision that you also served on Mr. Tolliver.
That is correct.
Thank you. If we could please take that down. Investigator Potts, do you have any recommendations for the commission today?
Yes, I do.
What are those recommendations?
I would ask the full amount of the penalties in this case be imposed. I would ask that the $47 in transportation fees be refunded back to the complainant. I would ask that the towing fees, the $512 and the additional $60 from the second incident, be refunded to the complainant. And again, I would ask that another cease and desist order be issued to this respondent.
Thank you. Your Honor, no further questions.
I just have a couple. Would you please spell the first and last name of the complainant?
It would be Alexander Kubik, and it is spelled Alexander, and Kubik, Kubik.
Thank you for that. In investigating this matter and in the course of your involvement with the prior case that was, I forget the proceeding number, but that was, I believe it may have been the recommended decision issued by ALJ Hahn. I believe it was hearing exhibit 105. So in those two cases, have you been able to identify an address other than the 4956 York Street, Denver, Colorado 80216 for either Colorado Roadside Recovery or Rapid Response?
Those are the addresses that were filed with the Commission and the Secretary of State's office for that particular tow company. In this particular case, the vehicle was towed to a tow yard in that area, but it was located off of Adams Street.
Okay, so the impound or the storage lot is located at a different address. However, the only address that you are aware of that Mr. Tolliver submitted to the commission as the business address for his businesses is the 4956 York Street. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Thank you. I may have one more question. Oh, you said in response to Ms. Hayden's question, did he continue to operate? Now, I wasn't sure if you meant continue to operate after the second tow in May of this year, or continued to operate in between the first and second tow. Which one was that? Is my question clear first? Let me ask you that.
I think so. I think I can clarify that. First of
Please
all,
go
this respondent was cited in 2023 for operating a tow company without a permit and insurance. He continued to operate, and we were able to gather evidence that he continued operating in March of 2024 when he performed the tow in this particular case. And he kept doing this all the way up through May of 2024 when he towed this complainant's vehicle a second time. I am unaware of any other towing activity, but that's why we're here today.
Okay, so you are unaware of any towing activities after May, after the second tow of Mr. Kubik's vehicle in May of this year. Is that correct?
Well, this respondent did maintain a tow yard, and I did go visit that tow yard on several occasions in an attempt to serve the CPAN. And every time I would go out there, there was a completely different load of new vehicles that had been loaded up in the tow yard. So my assumption is that he was continuing to operate this entire time. However, I only have this complaint regarding this one specific incident.
Understood. And when was the last time you visited the tow yard?
That would be the date that I served the CPAN. I believe that was July 29th.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have. Ms. Hayden, any redirect?
No, Your Honor, no redirect, although I would like to, for the record, indicate that I don't see Mr. Tolliver appearing on the screen, and I don't see him in the courtroom.
Thank you for that. Yeah, duly noted. Here. Does staff have any additional evidence to present?
No, Your Honor. Staff rests.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Potts. Thank you, Ms. Hayden. I appreciate the presentation here this morning. I will take this matter under advisement and issue a written recommended decision. Any questions before we adjourn? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.